Hello, investors. This is Connor Bates, Associate Portfolio Manager with Revere Asset Management. Today is Thursday, October 16th, 4:33 p.m. Eastern Time. Coming to you with tonight's Revere Roundup Daily Market Insight video. Market state, we are in a short-term pullback. Take a look, trend gauge over here. Leaders downgraded to neutral with that red sub arrow. A lot of weakness across the board, stalling action, certain themes breaking down. I'll cover all that in the video. Short term, yellow sub arrow as well. Equal weight and mid cap showing relative weakness as well, trading below the 21 EMA. And the medium term yellow sub arrow as well. Price is in touching distance now, so we'll see if a 50-day can hold. And then long term, still above the 200-day moving average. What happened today? Volatility, headlines, and big macro moves is kind of the theme of today. Huge moves in regional banks today, private credit stocks, volatility indexes up double digits. So just all that equals volatility. And here are the final numbers: 21 over 21 list down 0.74, 8 green, 13 red, turbo 12 down 2.54%, 4 green, 1 neutral, 7 red, big 8 down about a half percent, RG8 down 1.42%. Rust 2000 getting hit pretty hard, down 2.10%. 60/40 stock and bond down 0.1, GROTECTION down 0.81%, TurboTection down 1.51%. Let's get into the inter-asset correlation. And, you know, um, it doesn't look great. These big sell bars, like this was a 10 bar break to the downside. And if you look back, right, this was a big bar break. Right here was another one. So when you get these big bar breaks, that's can be a caution sign. And again, we're still trading inside that last Friday's candle. So again, but if we start to break Friday's low and the 50-day moving average, it's going to be totally risk off in the market. But for now, just in there, close below the 21. But again, it's very choppy. Take a look at the 60-minute chart. There's not much edge as a position trader in this type of environment. So definitely being patient, and the ATR has skyrocketed. We were in an environment where the ATR, the S&P 500 was like, 0.7. Now we're over 1%, and that just VIX is over 20 as well. So these are all signs that market's going to be more difficult, more choppy, big intraday moves, and you can even see it on a 5-minute chart, right? Just like big, look at the past couple days. Look at, big moves up, followed by big moves down, chop. So, definitely a tougher environment right now and proceeding with caution. But for now, I'm leaning more so. This chart looks bearish. Close below the 21 EMA, unable to close 50% of Friday's candle range, and kind of looking like a bear flag. Now, of course, this could all change. Just got to see what the market brings tomorrow. RSP never could fall through above that 192, 190 pivot, looking like potential bear flag, close below the 50-day moving average. Q, same look as the S&P 500. Same thoughts. This one closed above the 21 EMA, but again, are we building a consolidation range inside this Friday's candle? Or is this a bear flag going to break the 50-day? We'll see. Or, building a higher low from Friday's candle to move higher. Those are all scenarios that could play out. The only thing we can do is manage risk in real time and kind of listen to what the market is telling us. Mag 7, similar look, just inside Friday candles range. Dow Jones closed below the 21 EMA. You can see all these indexes look similar. Mid caps, relative weakness again, failed to get through this 33.22 spot and now closing below 50-day moving average. Rust 2000. Again, are we looking at a potential triple top against 2021 highs? We'll see. Or is it just rejecting and handles out? Small caps have been showing relative strength, and they still are. They're closing above the 21 EMA. Again, just ugly bar, but again, if we can just handle out here, build some higher lows, that would be positive. Don't want to see this leak below the 21 and then break the 50-day. ARC looks relatively fine. Again, consolidating. Leaders, gap up and reversal, close down 1.65%. VIX, this is really starting to ramp up 25% on the day, and anything above 20 is you know, a little bit risk off, harder to trade. And we closed at 25. This is definitely a huge caution for us. But again, other way to look at it is that if there's no like huge overnight moves, there's no big headline that escalates the selling and the market finds its footing, then the VIX has a lot of room to cool off back down, and that can provide some fuel for the markets. But as long as this is keep it simple, as long as the VIX is staying above 20, expect the market to be harder, more volatile, more fake outs, and just not generally not a conducive trading environment for how we manage client money. The dollar, no follow through, moving lower. Gold really starting to go parabolic. It's potentially looking, yeah, just parabolic, stacking three gap ups in a row, super extended from the moving averages. So wild move. My expectation would be gold starts to pull back here soon, but you don't know. GDX again doesn't look as extended as gold and still into all-time highs. Silver as well, starting to speed up. These are kind of starting to breach upper trend lines, accelerate on their moves up. Bitcoin, really ugly look here. Just, you know, look at this relative strength line. It's been going absolutely nowhere. I've talked about this chart in many videos, but again, had very weak breakout, failed breakout, third failed breakout, and then you had a huge liquidation on Friday, broke those liquidation lows, and now this is potentially starting to look like a stage three top heading in stage four. Um, you know, we follow price at Revere, and as much as we like crypto, it's treated us well in the past. We're looking at the charts real time, and again, it doesn't. This chart looks pretty dangerous if it starts to break below this 60 and this 200-day moving average. As we know, nothing good happens below the 200-day moving average, and that would be a very bad sign. Weekly coming into the 40-week moving average as well. So got to see. Or this holds support and comes back up. But for the past few months, this has been total chop fest. Bonds starting to break out, rates moving lower. TLT again coming breaking out a big downtrend line through this 91. This looks like a potential good opportunity. So watching that. And then rates you can see breaking lower through this shelf, TNX as well. Yeah, closing below 4%. All right, let's take a look at the tail of the tape. So the NAM numbers, they usually always update on Thursdays. The website wasn't updated, but very interesting change in the AAII. Bulls dropped all the way down to 33.7 and bears up 10.5 up to 46.1. So that's pretty notable. News-wise, regional banks. So I'm going to go over that chart, but the news was Zion Bancorp, they led the fall after a 50 million charge off tied to a loan from California Bank and Trust. A collateral issue with a borrower and exposure to the collapse of First Brands Group. That was kind of the news. Zion was down a lot, Western Alliance, the whole basket. Then these private credit names. We talked about this the other week, but Jefferies, KKR, Owl, APO, all of them continue to be weak. So, and financials too, XLF. So something to watch. Financials are obviously typically important for the economy and the market. Today's keys fell against the 821 across the indexes and IWM previous all-time high. Going into Friday, watching the same stuff, then watching VIX versus that 20 spot. Day count down one day below the 8, one day below the 21. Sectors wise, gold's really starting to accelerate to the upside. China, semiconductors, biotech, and ARKG, genomic ETF. Weakness, regional banks, rare earth, I oh that's typo. Regional banks twice. But Bitcoin and financials. GROTECTION today bought a starter in STX, sold PPH, IonQ, Dash, and trimmed hood. 1.05 beta minus 3.78% balance at risk. TurboTection got stopped out of GV, Serve, and Fig. 1.37 RVAB minus 3.83% balance at risk. Bottom line, volatility headlines and big macro moves. Let's get into the charts. So, regional banks. massive down almost 7% on huge volume, breaking below the 200-day moving average. Absolutely not a good look. Look at like Western Alliance down 10%. Zion Bancorp down 13%. So you can see there's a bunch more, but these were the notable ones. So pretty big red flags there. Interesting to see how this plays out in the coming days. And then other notable things, private credit, Jefferies down 10% below the 200-day moving average. Blue Owl Capital down 7%. KKR down almost 6%. Um, no, it's oh, there we go. Ares Capital down 3%. All these are living below the 200-day moving average. So that's definitely an ugly sign as well. And then the other big thing was we saw some blow off first backside moves in some of these big story stocks, big strong themes that have been driving the market higher. So we'll start with like the nuclear power generation, Oklo. I mean, again, it's made a huge move, but this is a pre-revenue company moving totally on future projections and doesn't really have any fundamentals. But again, this one was down 6%. Then other notable ones in the group, LEU down 5%. You can see some of these outside and bearish engulfing candles, NNE down 8%. So you get the picture there. The other one was quantum computing, IONQ down 10%, RGTI down 15%, QBTS down 10%. Again, these are the main ones in the group. Um, and these have been, two of the leading thematic story sectors of the market. And that's typically sometimes when you start to see these break down, that typically may be a sign the momentum starts is going to wane. And then SMR, this is another one in the alternative energy GEV, down, GEV, and then yeah, those are the most notable ones. So, oh, and then rare earth metals. I mentioned REMX again, down 6%, MP coming back into the top of the pivot from this base breakout. So, definitely some shifts, some character changes. But on the other hand, the sector that was screaming relative strength today was these computer data storage stocks. SanDisk, closing flat on the day after not giving back this high type flag breakout. We own that in TurboTection. STX, nice bounce off the 21 day. WDC, again, nice bounce off 21 day. And then Micron breaking out of this high flag. Own this in TurboTection as well. So again, there's still some bright spots in the market, but if the universe of tradable stocks and strong groups starts to deteriorate and you can only find a couple, I tend to call that the relative strength trap. And those typically tend to be the last stocks to fall if the market's going to go in a full-blown correction. But all right, that's some thoughts on some themes. Let's take a look at 21. Covered Micron, Credo. I mean, weakness just rallying back up into the 50-day moving average, GDX. Covered Seagate, ANET. Again, super just choppy, no real direction. These things likely need more basing. CoreWeave showed some relative strength today, still unable to close above that 150 spot, but again, it's still building higher lows for now. Aristonet or ALAB, major relative weakness, just bear flagging after a huge move down. Nvidia's trying to hold at the 50-day moving average. Snowflake sitting at the 21-day. Palantir again, kind of doing nothing. Cup and handle base, or is this a rising wedge for a potential lose the 50-day moving average? MDB doing nothing. Relative strength lines flat. Bloom Energy pulling back a little bit, but acting super strong. Tesla getting super tight at the 21 day. So either this is, a wedge or kind of a first bull flag after this breakout. We'll see. Robinhood, slight close below the 21 day. Dash, outside reversal candle today. NBIS doing nothing wrong. Flagging, building higher lows after strong move. First Solar pulling back after this breakout yesterday. Net potentially losing the 50-day moving average. LEU pulling back, MP pulling back to the top of the pivot, and IONQ losing the 21 day, breaking down a little bit. Turbo 12, Metsi, a rare earth name. It's actually had a blow off the other day, but put an inside day today. PAAS in the commodities making new highs. Carmen consolidating at the highs. SCCO, copper looks pretty good in this flag. SanDisk, good action, just down slightly on the day. Tempest had a catalyst, and again, the nature of the stock is brutally choppy and no signs. Popped up this morning, closing near the lows of the day. BE sound, for a high beta name, closed pretty well. SYM inside day at the highs. Irene starting to pull back. Again, this is another sector that might start to pull back. I mean, these stocks have made insane moves, and as they keep going up, it's great if you're long, but in no means they're in really any buyable position. And I mean, the stock's at a 12.25 billion market cap as well. So a little bit overheated here. And it's just some of these names have gone so far that the risk to reward was not on the long side. It was there was more risk to a pullback, and starting to see that across these themes and these Irene's perfect example. It's the leader in the crypto miner shift to AI data center energy, and down 10% today. IONQ covered that. SMR nasty fell at this 53.5 previous left side high. Oh, and then you can see WGMI. This is the ETF that holds a lot, again, down 10%, still above the 8 EMA, and still 145% above the 200-day, 50, almost about 55% above the 50-day moving average as well. So again, really the bottom line is VIX over 20 at 25. There's going to be a lot more volatility. Today we saw the first real trend day of weakness in some of these themes: nuclear, some robotic stocks, crypto miners. So that's notable. And then, regional banks breaking the 200-day in huge volume, and then some of these private credit stocks, and then gold going parabolic. So definitely a lot going on in the market right now, and just kind of have to take it from what it is and try to read what the market is telling you. And we're just kind of more so in caution mode with all the volatility, S&P below the 21-day moving average. So always hope these videos are helping you guys navigate. So that is going to wrap it. As I always, like to hear from you. My email, if you're interested in becoming a client, you can email me at connor@revereasset.com. Always reach out to me on Twitter at ConnorJBates_. Phone is 855 Real Wealth, 855-732-5932. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed the video, give it a like, comment, subscribe, share, and we will see you guys tomorrow.